What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always OU related, college football related, sports related. We have a good time. And we're off to recapping Oklahoma's 37-27 escape from IA, really. Kyler Murray, superlative. Again, just outstanding. If the Heisman voters haven't watched that performance, they need to. Because all he did was go 21 of 29 for 348 with 3 TDs. It was beautiful. It was ridiculous to watch what he was doing with Hollywood, particularly in the first half, because Hollywood Brown had 7 targets in the first half, 7 catches, 189 yards. Just ridiculous. Now, we'll talk about how he only had 2 yards catching in the second half, finished with 9 catches for 191 yards. Trey Sermon, he ain't Rodney Anderson, but he was serviceable. He was good. It was something like 13 carries for 71 yards, like 5.9 yards per carry. Glad to see Marcelius Sutton not only was okay, but got back into the game after a nasty leg injury. Looked like, man, that was bad. Like, he's a hockey player. Marcelius Sutton, Iron Man Award. CeeDee Lamb started off slow, came on. Grant Calcaterra, dude, you get a C-. Why are you switching hands, you know? But we'll get into that, and we'll certainly get into Mike Stoops' defense. But I see a lot of y'all already in the chat, so let's do the roll call while we're here. Let me see who was in here talking with, man. JoJo was in here. Signer was in here. Sooner Slim, what's good, fam? Hood, what's good? Bradley Carragher's in the house. Who else we got in here? JDCC fan, what's good? Josh Hall, what's good? Who else we got in here? Matthew Bingham. Will Smith, what's good? Gutslinger in the house. Who else is in here? Greg Tate, what's good? D. Kent, what's good? Jeremy Jones, I see you. Who else is in here? Ryan, what's good? Bobby Fry in the house. Stacking Cuber 23. Pez Spencer Warthog, what's good? Mark Raines in the house. Sean Stapleton in the house. Mitchell James in the house. Coach B, what's good? Rod G, Q-Ball, Vance Shuey, Adrian White, Philip Hatcher, Rachel Herrera, what's good, fam? Drew Anderson? Yeah, Drew Anderson. Kelvin Hicks, what's up, Mr. Hicks? Bo Harper in the house. Ronnie! Hey, Ronnie. Brandon Rader in the house. John Jackson, I see you. Joseph Cummings, Sean Robertson, Smitty, not Schmitty, Tattoo Baker, excuse me. Troy Armstrong, Derek Ives, Solomon Middleton, Jeff Stanley, 405 boy, Matt Tucker. What's up, Matt? I still haven't cracked Destiny Forsaken. That's how busy I've been. Larry Jones, what's good? Daniel Howery, I see you. Stephen Gordon in the house. Devin Gilmore in the house. See anybody else? Highlight greatness. All right. Johnny Brown. Ryan, what's good? R. Foster. Let me see. What else we got? Anybody else in? Sid Nasty. There's a name. Let me see. Trapper's in here. What else we got? Dustin Gamble. Trenton Lawbach. Ryan Baldwin. Rick Walker. My mama will probably come through. Laurel will probably come through. Hey, babe. Marshall Anderson. Bailey, what's good? Pure Living for Outdoors. I see you, fam. Boomer, my Sooner. That's what's up. Who else is in here? I'm sure Terry is either in here or she's going to catch it on the replay. Shout out to Sydney, too. Sydney was having a hard time, like I was having a hard time. If you're on Twitter and you follow me, RJ_Young, you know that I was kind of having a meltdown in the first half because this felt a lot like Iowa State last year and Baylor last year, just kind of mixed together, man. You had a quarterback who was just dicing up Mike Stoops' defense. And if you watch the recap video, by the way, I'm trying out a new camera position and set for the recap video for Iowa State, so go check it out if you're there. But I was trying to hold it together. And the way that I've tried to cope now, right, because Mike's the defense coordinator, is really to just kind of be sarcastic about it, man. Because look, Zeb Nolan, hey man, they just got great backup quarterbacks at Iowa State. They just got Davey O'Brien winners out there at Iowa State. 25 and 36 for 360 yards, 2 TDs and a pick. Pick iced the game. So, I mean, but look, 360 yards, passed for more yards than Kyler Murray did. Zeb Nolan, backup quarterback. Same guy that went 4 of 10 for 43 yards against Iowa last week. Didn't score a TD. You know, this is the guy backing up Kyle Kipp, who was the guy backing up Jacob Park last year. So basically your third string quarterback went for 360 on Mike Stoops. But hey, players got to make tackles, right? Players got to hit their assignments. Never mind the defense coordinator is putting those kids in position to make plays or has the power to give a kid the hook if he doesn't think that kid's up to snuff, right? There's a lot of people that were calling for Parnell Motley to be on the bench, even though I believe that Parnell Motley was the best defensive back Oklahoma had playing all day, really. I mean, he was the player of the game in the first half. Then he kind of went to sleep in the third quarter, and then toward the end of the game, especially with that pick, he came up big. Parnell Motley. Whoa, Kelvin Hicks, $20 super chat. Forgive me for slacking on your allowance. Keep up the good work. I appreciate that. Kelvin Hicks is the father, of 2019 defensive end Marcus Hicks. Marcus Hicks is a dog. Like, y'all got a good one coming to Oklahoma in Marcus Hicks. If you haven't seen his huddle film or you haven't seen the highlight video that I made, you should go check it out. It's on the channel. But the defense, man, like, what are we? Okay, I'll give passes to the defensive line because they were getting held. I mean, it was blatant holding. It wasn't like, how they say there's offensive holding on every single play, right, by the offensive linemen. That wasn't this. They were hugging Neville Gallimore around the waist. They were ripping at the clothes of Ronnie Perkins. They were really just trying to get something on like there was like a headlock on Amani Bledsoe late. And then when they had the nerve to call holding on Drew Samia on Trey Sermon's big run, everybody's looking around like, oh, we calling holding now? Because if you're not going to call holding, you're not going to call holding. We get that. But just call it both ways, right? But that's just the defensive line. Curtis Bolton, who had 8 tackles, also had some real just howlers, man, in soccer. A howler is when there's an inexcusable goal made that the goalie should have stopped. It's just a mistake that you're like, how did he miss that? Well, Curtis Bolton had 2 of those, right? The first one was Hakeem Butler, who I said was going to be a problem. I said Hakeem Butler was going to be a problem all week long. 6'6", 225, built like DGB, okay? And all he did was prove me right. He had 5 catches for 174 yards, but his second touchdown was Khalil Houghton. Had him dead to right, couldn't wrap him up. Then Curtis Bolton, who missed the play on the ball previously in that same play, had a chance to put Hakeem Butler on the ground, couldn't wrap him up. Trey Norwood had a chance to put Hakeem Butler on the ground, couldn't wrap him up. Whoa, Tattoo Baker with the $10 super chat. Appreciate that, fam. When you drop a super chat, like Mr. Hicks did, say something, give a question or whatever. It goes to the front of the front of the line. I get tongue-tied just trying to get out my feelings about the defensive play today. So I'm gonna take it slower and say positives. Justin Broyles, 10 tackles. Double-digit tackles from your safety. Kenneth Murray Jr., 10 tackles. Double-digit tackles from your middle linebacker. K9 is coming on. Brendan Radley-Hiles, right? 8 tackles. Was in on almost every play. But between Justin Broyles and Brendan Radley-Hiles, I saw missed tackles, man. I saw guys that had a chance. Like, Buki could have had 20 tackles. He was in on every play. Right? Same thing with Justin Broyles when they had him coming downhill. But David Montgomery in space was knocking people over, which just, I said it out loud on Twitter. What happens when Justice Hill gets to Owen Field? What happens when Army gets to Oklahoma next week? That's a running team. That's an assignment football team. You have to wrap those kids up and put them on the ground or it's going to be a long day. And Zeb Nolan's going to be the least of your problems. Tim Bailey, $5 super chat. Butler had over half the points and a quarter of the yards was from those 2 plays. Sometimes got to tip your hat. Sometimes you got to tip your hat. Motley got 8, but was in good position. I understand that, Tim, but I also saw Hakeem Butler break tackles. All right? And where I'm from, there's no such thing as yak. Okay? Yak is what we get. Yak is not got on us. Okay? When you hit somebody, they go to the ground. That's the way that you're taught to do it. You hog tie them. Right? You wrap them up, you hold them down, and you don't let them get away. So I hear you about Hakeem Butler, right, and his one-on-one matchups. But I also watched Parnell Motley get his grits cooked. Okay? And it wasn't by Hakeem Butler. Right? We saw him go for that double move. We saw him bite. We saw it. I mean, and then on the other side, Trey Norwood got his lunch eaten. We got lunch eaten all over the defense. Okay? So we don't just have to point at Hakeem Butler. We can also point at David Montgomery refusing to go down. Robert Lane, $10 super chat. Funds for the new Pez funds for the new Pez dispenser, excuse me. Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, that's been a long running joke between myself and Warthog when I first started this channel like a year ago. You know, I would lose my cool and I would have to do the WOOSAH pose like on the mic flag. And he said that he kept his blood pressure pills in his Pez dispenser. So now I got a Pez dispenser where my blood pressure pills are, because it's like that sometimes, man. And you wonder out loud, what was the difference between Florida Atlantic and UCLA and today? Now, my first thought is this is a Big 12 offense. That's the difference. The caliber of offenses in this league are just better than Florida Atlantic and better than UCLA is this year. But on the other hand, there was no Ryan Jones out there. And I think that is going to be an underrated storyline going forward, because Ryan Jones was playing significant snaps against UCLA and Florida Atlantic in that Sam linebacker position. That's what they call it. It's really just a hybrid strong safety. It acts like a spur. It acts like some sort of bandit in a 3-3-5, because basically that guy is not a liability in coverage, and he can come downhill, make tackles, and he's big enough to take on tight ends. Okay? And the defense just looks different when Ryan Jones is on the field. And I never thought that it would be Ryan Jones that makes Mike Stoops' scheme work, but that's what it is, man. It's not Buki. It's not Justin Broyles. It's not Curtis Bolton. Ryan Jones is making that scheme work. That position is crucial, right? I would say that position is even more crucial than Mark Jackson's role right now, because of what I saw against Iowa State, which is just, hey, man, I think Alan Kinney had tweeted this during the first quarter, which is, I would get out of nickel, which is something we never thought we would say. So you would either go to dime, right, when you saw 5 wide, which was never 5 wide. It was just window dressing for David Montgomery and the Wildcat. But what you saw was them want to give the ball to David Montgomery in a big set. And when you're doing that, you need bodies on the line of scrimmage. You need bodies in the box. So if you're in a nickel, you got to have 8 in the box. And that 8th man cannot be the size of Brendan, Buki, Radley Hiles, or Justin Broyles. It has to be the size of Ryan Jones. Ryan Jones, 6'2", 230. That's a big difference between 5'9", 190. All right? It's just the way that it is. And I was wondering when I was going to see him. And what happened to Caleb Kelly? Right? You saw Brian Meade come on and what a spot we thought Caleb Kelly would, where Curtis Bolton went down. And then here comes Brian Meade. What? No Levi Draper? No, just Brian Meade. Okay, fine. That's what we're doing. It was only a snap, and Curtis Bolton was back on the field, but it raised more questions than it answered about the defense. And for those folks who have said this is the scheme, like this is it, this is the retooled Mike Stoops defense that we've been looking for, jury's still out, man. Like I was asked about this on the Sports Animal on Thursday heading into this game, which is, what do you think about the defense? What grade you give them? I said I'd give them a B because they ain't played nobody. Shutting down UCLA when they're terrible? Nah. Shutting down a Florida Atlantic team that we didn't think was going to be very good? Maybe, because Chris Robinson went and dropped 471 on Air Force the next week. But then you have this outing against Iowa State, where they put up 447 yards of offense, and their backup quarterback throws for 360. So what do you do? What do you take from this defense? Can you say that they're great? No. Can you say that they're terrible? Also no. But mediocrity does not win college football playoff. It does not win college football national championships. It barely gets you into the playoff. We were the 4th team in the playoffs last year. Don't forget that. Don't forget that, okay? People were going to put Alabama in. Clemson and Georgia were going to get in, right? And then Oklahoma has to win the Big 12 title game after losing to the same team that pushed them to the limit. The folks who were watching this game from wire to wire saw a defense that on the stat sheet and on the scoreboard looked legit and know that it's not. They know that it was sloppy at best, and it was downright out of sorts at worst. So the defense, still unanswered questions. And it's going to be that way. It's going to be that way until they play Oklahoma State. It's going to be that way until they play TCU. But even then, it's going to be that way until they play West Virginia. And what a lot of people think would be a rematch of that game. Because to me right now, it's between West Virginia and TCU for who's going to play Oklahoma in the Big 12 title game in December. But this Iowa State team, maybe they'll play like they've been playing against Oklahoma, because that certainly wasn't the Iowa State team that we saw against Iowa. So either Iowa State played down to its competition in Iowa or played up to its competition in Oklahoma. Either way, I don't like what this has to say about Mike Stoops' defense. Because all I heard, especially in the comments of this channel and on Twitter, was, yo, the starters have given up like 14 points over 2 games, RJ. And I'm going, against who? Against who? This is big boy football now. This is conference football. Today was challenge day. And fortunately for the folks that watch this channel and me, we were T'Challa. Okay? But you took lumps like T'Challa did. There was a spear to your shoulder. Iowa State said, nah, we ain't come here to lay down. You know, they didn't take an Old Testament whooping like we thought they would. Those boys raised up. Now, the talent overwhelmed them in the end, but that's not a good look for Oklahoma. It's not. Not when you're number 5 ranked team in the country. Now, 3-0 is 3-0 and a W is W. I get that. I understand that argument. But going forward, where optics will matter because Oklahoma does not play in the SEC, you're going to have to put together a defense that can take apart good Big 12 teams, and Iowa State is a good Big 12 team. There are only like 3 of them, right? Because Oklahoma can't play itself. There's TCU, there's West Virginia, there's Iowa State. Okay? You can't count on Kansas State. You can't count on Texas Tech. You certainly can't count on Baylor or Kansas, though that's the one thing that I think that Iowa State gets to say and Oklahoma gets to say today. At least you didn't get beat 55-14 by Kansas. Good on Kansas. Kansas went to work on Rutgers today. You know? I think it was Barry Tremmel who there was a quote attributed to him by George Stoya on Twitter, said you can only hold the Jayhawks in check for a few decades before they rise up. Good on the Jayhawks. You know, like get them back to what Mangino was doing with Todd Reese and them. Go Kansas. But back to our game. Look, it's just not as deep as the SEC. You know, the SEC has 2 marquee games today. 2! In their conference games. LSU versus Auburn, Alabama versus Ole Miss. What does the Big 12 had? It had Oklahoma versus Iowa State, and then a non-conference game between TCU and Ohio State. And you can make an argument, I guess, for Boise State and Oklahoma State. They're both ranked. But you can't count on anybody but those. I guess I left out Oklahoma State. I did. So West Virginia, TCU, and Oklahoma State. Those are the 4, and Oklahoma. Those are the 4 teams you can count on, right? Out of 10 teams, in what a league that everybody says you don't play defense in, you just score points. It's just a bad look, man. It's a bad look, and I understand I'm not panicking. I'm just irritated. Okay. And I don't know how you cannot be irritated, even for the most Pollyanna of OU fans. How can you not be irritated by what you saw? At the very least, annoyed by what you saw. Missed tackles, bad assignments, gash plays. I mean, I saw Tim in here with his Hakeem Butler take about, he's just better. But how many times do you get to say that? Do you get to say that the first time he mosses you, or the second time, or the third time? What about when he breaks his 7th tackle of the day? At what point is it that the defense just wasn't there today? And how often can you get away with that if you're Oklahoma, where everybody wants they want your back. They want to peel your cap and nail it on the wall. And for all the talk about not wanting the offense to be the story anymore from the defensive players, the offense bailed the defense out today. Again, just like mid-2017. If Kyler Murray does not pass for nearly 350 and lead the team in rushing and put up nearly 450 yards of his own offense, what does the defense do? If Hollywood Brown does not change his middle name to 3rd down conversions, what does the defense do? During the end of that game, there are folks that were melting down going, the offense has to score. And how often have you heard that story at Oklahoma about the offense having to score to win a football game? Knowing that the offense is going to put up 35 plus every time they go out. That should be embarrassing if you play defense. That the offense has to bail you out and they score 35 a game. At what point is it past, saying it's pride. At what point is it just, hey, we have to start again? Now, I understand that a lot of the defense is inexperienced and a lot of guys are getting to play because they're good, but they're also young. But how often has that been the story? Come on, guys. At what point do we have to just open our eyes and see the defense that you have? And the defense that you have ain't Alabama. It ain't Clemson. It ain't Georgia. It wants to be. But right now, it's about not getting beaten. It's not about imposing your will. So what's the switch? Where's the line? When do you get to impose your will as a defense? What does that look like in the Big 12? We've been trying to find out. And how long have you been trying to find out? TCU? Is TCU what it looks like? TCU's a top 25 defense. Texas last year was a top 25 defense. Todd Orlando ran dime. They were the only defense running something a little bit different than everybody else. And it worked. But I don't know that you want to keep comparing yourselves to TCU and Texas if you're Oklahoma. Maybe that's where you got to start, though, because what we saw today is a far cry from anything like dominating defense. I'm gonna look for some questions now because I want to include y'all in the conversation. At what point does Riley fire Mike Stoops? I don't know, man. He got an extension through 2020 and a $30,000 raise. And obviously the kids want to play for him. I don't give that enough credit. The kids want to play for him. And that says a ton, right? And I don't think that Mike would be allowed to stick around if guys like Kenneth Murray Jr. didn't feel compelled to want to vindicate that man. I don't think that would be, I think that's underrated. I think he still has the kids that want to play for him. I think they still want him to be their defensive coordinator. And I think that has a lot to do with Mike Stoops continuing on as the play caller. Let me see. Dax Hill didn't... why are we talking about Dax Hill? This game was luck. New rivalry. Prairie Storm. David wants a rivalry with Iowa State. I don't want a rivalry with Iowa State. We're full up on rivalries. Texas. We call Oklahoma State a rivalry, right? We call it a rivalry. I'm full up on rivalries. Everybody's a rival to Oklahoma. Everybody wants to beat Oklahoma. At what point do we get to pick our rival? We wanted to be Texas, but they ain't living up to their end now, are they? Bad football down there, man. Will TJ Pledger keep his red shirt this season? He played today, so I don't think so. He got 1 carry today for 1 yard. And let me double check that right quick while I'm here. Because that was another thing to me. I was like, well, at least you don't have to play TJ, because if you were going to play him, now it's time to play him. Marcellus Sutton down. So you might, that was a big one for me. I thought they were going to redshirt TJ, but nope, TJ had 1 carry for 1 yard. So you burned that third game for 1 carry. I don't think he's redshirting, man. I don't think that's in the plans for TJ Pledger. Otherwise, why are you putting him out there? Why take that unnecessary snap? Why not give that to Kennedy Brooks, who's already burned up his red shirt? So I don't think so. I don't think so. Let me see. Nah, man. Kerry Cooks brought in Buki and Justin Broyles and Parnell Motley for all the noise he's taken today. Also came up with the only pick of the game. All right, that counts for something, because that also continues this trend of takeaways. I like that. Now, did it come, late in the game? Yes, but it also iced the game, and it came after Curtis Bolton dropped his pick. So I'm not prepared to go. Nah. Kerry's doing fine. RJ, man, are you sick of the stress the defense puts on the team? Yeah. Close the gap. That's what you wanted in 2018. In 2018, you're not saying compete with Alabama and Clemson and TCU, right? Georgia, as far as being one of the best defenses in college football. You're saying close the gap. I was saying get inside the top 40. Get inside the top 40 at the end of the season as a total defense in advanced metrics like Bill Connolly's S&P rating. Get inside the top 40. Because you got help coming in with this 2019 class. Just as you had help coming in with this 2018 class. So I didn't expect them to make a jump into the top 5 or even the top 25 this year, but you got to close the gap. And closing the gap means not putting stress on the offense. When the offense gives you a lead, you got to protect it. You know, like Oklahoma went up 24-10 at halftime. And it was a 7-point ball game into the fourth quarter. No, that can't happen. That can't happen. Yo, man, don't use all caps. Nah, don't use all caps. Let me see. Motley looked great, only burnt once and couldn't get any help on tackling that big dude. That's Shane Brasher, excuse me. Again, Hakeem Butler, 6'6", 225. I mean, hey, that is why they make those guys play wide receiver, is because they are bigger than everybody else. I mean, it's like putting Grant Calcaterra out there, except Grant is not 6'6". Hey, Mark Andrews was 6'5". How many 6'6" wide receivers you see out there? That's why I say the DGB comparison, you know, that's apt. And Hakeem Butler is going to be a problem. He's just gonna be a problem. And he's gonna be a problem for a few years. Gonna have to learn to live with it. Gonna have to learn to bracket that guy. But more than anything else, you just gotta wrap him up, put him on the ground. You know, he didn't do his damage the way that Hollywood does his damage. You know, Hollywood outruns people. You know, he gotta take that go route or that post route, and he gets in front of you, catches the ball, you never catch him. Hakeem Butler was physically abusing the secondary. Heck, he was physically abusing the linebackers. That's a problem. You know, the Hollywoods, you tend to be like, okay, that guy's going to beat me just because he's faster than me. In the game of football, if you're getting beaten because somebody's pushing you around, that's on you. You have to get bigger. You have to get stronger. Those are things that are within your control. You can be more technically sound in your tackling. Everybody can. I saw Buki rolling into folks. You know, like you can't roll into people in this league. You can't roll into anybody in the FBS. You have to stick your face mask, somebody's chest, wrap them up around their rear end, and put them on their back. That is the way to tackle. What else we got in here? Do you think OU defense would be better if Buki and Trey Brown at safety play some young? Nah, I don't. I think Trey Brown is actually a saving grace at corner because he allows you some flexibility in Trey Norwood and Parnell Motley, particularly if you don't like what you see out of either one of those, like they did against UCLA. Parnell Motley got the hook. Trey Brown came in, shut things down. You know, Trey Brown had a sack. I don't want to move Trey Brown to safety. I think Jordan Parker and Justin Broyles being at safety are just fine. Justin Broyles and Buki as your safeties, I'm okay with that. I'm all right with that. You know, Khalil Houghton, we got to get that dude to tackle because this is back-to-back weeks where he's been embarrassed. You know, not back-to-back weeks where he's just been kind of iffy. Caleb Wilson ate his lunch last week. And today, Hakeem Butler put him on a poster. Ran right through his tackle. You know, I mean, I'm on the OU Insider board looking at the live thread, and folks are going, get Khalil Houghton out of there. I don't think you change that by putting Trey Brown back there. I think you need to leave Trey Brown exactly where he is. Matter of fact, Trey Brown is beamer ball. And I don't know how many people caught on to this, but Matt Campbell's kicking short so he doesn't have to kick the tape to Trey Brown. Think about that. That's beamer ball. You're giving the short field because you're afraid of Trey Brown torching you. That's awesome. Right? Oklahoma hadn't seen that in a while. Last time Oklahoma saw that was Alex Ross. That is respect to your kick returners and to your kick return team who will set up blocks. You know, the Iowa State just said, we don't want any part of this. We don't want you to beat us with Trey Brown. And they were going for it on fourth down because they would rather try to keep their offense on the field than let Lincoln Riley's offense on the field. So Matt Campbell knew the way to attack Oklahoma is to beat up on the defense. He can't take chances with the special team. He can't take chances with the offense. And that, to me, again, speaks volumes about where Oklahoma football is today. Is it a top 5 football team? Yes. But that's because the offense is best in the country. And because special teams is fast rising up the charts, is one of the best in the country. The defense is where things need to tighten up. I saw that so much on Twitter today. So many people in my timeline yelling, tighten up. You know, yelling, wrap up. Yelling, do we teach tackling? Is that not something that we do? You know, all valid points. Nobody was yelling about what the offense is doing. Nobody's yelling about Kyler Murray taking hits, and he took a couple today. Nobody's yelling about Trey Sermon or Marcellus Sutton or CeeDee Lamb, who, Grant Calcaterra got yelled at for 2 seconds, and he had a fumble. Nah, man. Everybody knows what needs to be shored up at Oklahoma, and it's defense. Flat out. Let me see. What else we got in here? Let's see. Alan Lambell. What's up, Alan? I don't think I've ever seen you in the chat. Welcome. What's up with Trey Sermon? He seems slow and scared in the backfield to me. Nah, man. Trey Sermon was more patient than Le'Veon Bell, and Le'Veon Bell's still holding out. That's a long walk for a joke, but you understand what I'm getting at. Trey Sermon was trying to line up his blocks. That's what I saw. I saw a guy who was trying to wait for the blocking and wait for the hole, and he fell forward. Look, he had a long run where Drew Samia, he held, but that guy wasn't going to get to Trey. Trey got to the second level by himself, and when in the first half, people are talking about, hey, he's slow. No, he's not slow. He's lining up blocks. He's being patient. He's maturing as a running back. That's what you do. I wonder how many people actually watch some of the best running backs in the NFL play. Now, I know a lot of people want to say that being a running back in the NFL is the least valuable position in the NFL. But the guys who do it really well are the ones to watch. Joe Mixon, extremely patient. Le'Veon Bell is the most patient, and all he does is light up your fantasy team every single time he plays. It's not because he's fast, although he is fast. It's because he can wait for the hole, hit the hole. It's because he can do what Trey Sermon does, which is get the ball out of the backfield. Right? I see Trey Sermon becoming that sort of back. And that's what you have to be at Oklahoma. You have to be the guy who can run between the tackles, who can be patient, who can outrun people who are chasing him, who can catch the ball out of the backfield, who can pick up blocks. I have no problem with the way Trey Sermon played football today. None. And particularly with Kyler Murray at quarterback, neither should you. Okay? We know that the running back situation is not going to be what we want it to be because Rodney Anderson's hurt. Your best running back is hurt. But this year, it doesn't particularly have to be because Kyler Murray is making up for a bunch of mistakes and, as we say, a multitude of sins because of what he can do with his legs and because how much defensive coordinators fear him and spy him and or want to give him as much of a cushion to lay him out as possible. So I'm not concerned about the running back situation the way that other people are because Kyler Murray is the quarterback. And if you look at the comparison through the first 3 games of this season and the first 3 games of Baker Mayfield's season last year, the one where he won the Heisman, they're basically identical. I think they both had like 1,032 yards and passing, and they both had 10 touchdowns. He's just doing it a little bit differently than Baker did, but he's doing it just as efficiently. Again, 21 of 29 for 348 with 3 TDs. He's thrown 1 interception all year long. 1. Nobody saw that coming out of Kyler Murray. Everybody wants to say dual threat and athlete and what he can do with his legs. But my goodness, what he's able to do as a passer, where he is threading the needle so well, you could call him a seamstress. That is the story. That's a quarterback back there. It just happens to be a quarterback who can run. And I think that gets overlooked. So no, there's nothing wrong with Trey Sermon. There's nothing wrong with Marcellus Sutton. There's nothing wrong with TJ Pledger, Kennedy Brooks. Because Kyler Murray makes the offense go. Now, if that were Austin Kendall back there, I think it would be a little bit different. But you also see why Lincoln Riley chose to go with Kyler Murray. There's not another person in the country who can do what Kyler Murray can do, let alone Austin Kendall. You're going to start Kyler Murray. Period. Let me see. What else we got in here? Jesse Childs. Thank you for the $5 super chat. I appreciate that, fam. What's got in here? Every negative in this game can be corrected in practice. That's Nate Broaddus. Nate Broaddus is also a Hall of Fame commenter. When you write a comment on the channel, you should read it. It's usually a pretty good take. A pretty good assessment of what we're talking about in the video. But I think that he's right. There was nothing that I saw on the defensive side of the football that you can't correct in practice. No guys were outclassed, right? There was nobody out there who just didn't deserve to be out there in terms of talent. In terms of tackling, we can make that argument almost everywhere, right? But that's been the story of Mike Stoops' defense for a while. Can they tackle? If they can tackle, they're good. We saw it in the first 2 games where they made tackles. You know, you had 8 sacks by 7 players. You had 21 tackles for loss by 13 players. If they can tackle, they're good. Let me see what else we got in here. Zebius B. Lou. Khalil got to go from safety. He can be a backup, but nah, fam. Give me Parker or move Buki over there and have Trey move to nickelback if Buki moves to safety. Nah, look, nickelback is basically a strong safety in Mike Stoops' scheme because I saw Buki and Justin Broyles basically interchanging at center field and dropping down to the strong side if they were on the strong side. So I don't think it really matters that much. Tyler Beasley, thank you for the $5 super chat. I really don't think it matters that much. I think he wants to run 2 safeties instead of 3. I think that he wants to have Jordan Parker and or another guy we didn't see today, Robert Barnes, ready to go if he can. But Justin Broyles and Buki look good. Khalil Houghton, I think you're still going to see parts of him because, well, I don't think Robert Barnes is ready to go. Otherwise, he would have been out there too. You know, like I haven't looked at the participation report because, you know, the game just finished a couple hours ago and they don't have it up. But I'm looking at in terms of tackles made and who was on the field. You had guys, Ronnie Perkins still made a tackle. Didn't have a lot to say in the game, still made a tackle. Monty Bledsoe made a tackle. Kenneth Mann was in on stuff, had 2 tackles. Neville Gallimore had 3 tackles from the nose tackle position, which still just baffles my mind because that's a guy taking on double teams seemingly every time he takes a snap. And you had most of your tackles being made by your safeties and your corners, which I would expect, right, in the Big 12 where they throw the ball around. That's who's going to have to make the tackles, and that's where the missed tackles seem to be magnified the most. But Kenneth Murray Jr. and Curtis Bolton, though Curtis Bolton didn't have the best game, he still had 8 tackles. Kenneth Murray Jr. had 10. And again, I've been talking about how much I like Justin Broyles, especially coming downhill. He's all energy, right? He's all talking. I like having that guy on the field. So Jordan Parker, I think he's going to have to continue to fight to get in the rotation. I mean, obviously there's something that he hasn't seen or Kerry Cooks hasn't seen from him where he'd be out there. That's the way I look at it, man. I don't think there's another way to look at it, especially with what we've seen from this defense. You know? What else we got in here? Was Mark Jackson dropping into coverage more in this game, or was that just me? I think it was about like last week where they ran more 4-2-5, right? Where Mark Jackson has his hand on the ground and he got to be that speed rusher. But I've given up on Mike Stoops just making that position somebody who gets to go forward as opposed to go backward. You know, that guy's going to go backward 3-4 plays a game, minimum, because of the kind of coverages that he likes to call and how much zone he ends up running. Man, particularly in cover 3 situations where you just got that guy out in the flat, I want like a blood vessel's going to pop in my head because I'm going, you're putting a guy out there that does not have lateral or straight line speed to cover running backs and tight ends who can catch. You're asking a lot out of the jack linebacker in the Ryan Jones position, but the Ryan Jones position needs to be called the Ryan Jones position because Ryan Jones needs to play it. I mean, the defense looked better against UCLA and FAU when Ryan Jones was on the field. That was my biggest takeaway from Mike Stoops' defense against Iowa State. Again, stuff you can correct in practice. In practice, you can say, hey, Ryan, you're an every down player now. We'll call it whatever. If it's a strong safety or a Sam linebacker position, whatever it is, put that guy on the field because he makes your defense work. That's what I took away from that. $25 super chat from Stephen Goodspeed. Thank you, Stephen. Again, when you drop a super chat, please drop a question or a comment in there, and I will take it on, man. I appreciate that. What else we got in here? I'm scrolling through the chat. Robert Lane, dang RJ. Shout out to Olivia's dad. Who's Olivia's dad? Olivia Davis. Let me see. Hello, Olivia's dad. Okay, I missed a bunch of Olivia's dad. Where's man, I missed a bunch of Olivia's dad. I'm sorry, Olivia. I'm sorry that I didn't catch shouting out to your dad. I'm glad that Robert said something. Whoa, hey, watched it with the $50 super chat. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, Robert, I'm not looking at the chat when I'm in the rant zone, like Dukin said. That's my bad. That's my bad. Everybody's going RJ. Shout out to Olivia's dad. Man, hey, honestly, that's one of the things I love about the chat is the community continues to talk back, and I talk to the community, and they take care of each other because there's a bunch of people in here who are pulling for Olivia's daddy. Hi, Olivia's dad. This is great. Archie got busy on the soapbox. Yeah, he did. Running back from North Shore is a get. Yeah, he is. Let me see what else we got in here. I'm trying. Hey, RJ, this is Stephen Gordon. Iowa State's QB put up good numbers. What will Greer put up against us? That's another good take. You saw some pretty good QB play out of Zeb Nolan. Looked like a gamer. Looked like a Big 12 quarterback. Looked a lot like what Zach Smith looked like last year, where he put up like 463 against Mike Stoops' defense, and Baylor scored 41. I'm not prepared to say that Will Greer will put up the same sort of numbers as Zach Smith, but what Zeb Nolan did, Will Greer is completely capable of, especially with David Sills, who's arguably a better wide receiver than Hakeem Butler. And those two are telekinetic. There's some telekinesis going on between Will Greer and David Sills. They just see each other. And I think some of that is because David Sills used to be a quarterback. And he just understands. But this is their year. If Dana Holgorsen is going to have a year, this is it. Because Will Greer, David Sills, that running back situation, seems like Tony Gibson's defense kind of sort of works, at least right now. Dropping 40 on Tennessee. This is the year. And if they can't pull it together this year, I don't know when they could. Because that's the best quarterback Dana Holgorsen has had since he got to West Virginia. You know, like at some point you got to pull through. And that was the other thing. We're getting into disputes with West Virginia fans on Twitter because they're trying to make Baker Mayfield comparisons to Will Greer. And I keep trying to tell everybody Baker Mayfield won 3 consecutive Big 12 titles and played in 2 college football playoffs. Will Greer had trouble making it through the entire season with all 10 of his fingers. You know, let's pump our brakes on that just a little bit. But yes, he's completely capable of doing what Zeb Nolan did today. Let's see. What else we got in here? Broyles was machine-like. Hollywood is a big play waiting to happen every single time. And again, if not for Kyler and Hollywood, this game looks very different. Looks very different. 191 of those 348 yards are all to Hollywood. 189 of them are in the first half. You know, that's the difference. And just the offense and the explosion and the way, like Greg McElroy and Davey Pash are up there going, maybe you should call a timeout. Maybe you should run hurry up. And I forget who tweeted this, but it was, do you even Lincoln Riley? Whoa, super chat. Sean James, keep it coming. RJ, love the videos. I've been telling folks to pump the brakes. Defense still needs improvement. I appreciate that, Sean. Good looking out, man. I appreciate that. Let's see what else we got in here. Also, now that everybody knows that I try to make eye contact with you, which means I'm looking at the camera and not at the chat. Continue to say in the chat what needs to be shouted out or not. And for those of you who are new to the chat, if you have children and you would like to put them on blast, put their names in the chat. Who you are to them, because I've shouted out some wives that I've called daughters. It's not something I'm particularly proud of, but hey, man, I didn't have the data to go on. So if that's you, say what's up. Wayne Thompson, $10 super chat. I didn't care much for the penalties today. We kept giving them extra life on offense. This is true. This is true. You can clean that up too. That's just sloppy play, right? That's just sloppy play. Particularly when Gallimoore's kind of, that roughing the passer. He didn't need to do that. But I understand he was upset. But still, you got to be more disciplined than that. All things you can clean up. You can clean that stuff up. You can make those kids more disciplined. But that's kind of the story with the defense. Makes you kind of wonder what practice is like. And since nobody gets to see practice, we can't tell you. You know? Grant Romberg. Can you give a shout out to my dad? Shout out to Grant Romberg's dad. Didn't put his name, Grant. I can't call him by his name. I like Marcus Dupree. Baker won the Heisman. Really? Who do you like? What do you mean you like Marcus Dupree? I don't understand that one. That one missed me. Unless we can have Dupree and Kyler. So y'all trying to play with Marcus Dupree and Kyler Murray? All right. Play that fantasy football game if you want to. Kelly, what you got? Brad Van Bark was the head official today. He is from Pella, Iowa. Thus the lack of holding calls. Whoa. Good find by Kelly. Maybe some home cooking in there. Because there was holding on nearly every play that Iowa State snapped as an offense. He was bad. I was just of the opinion, okay, they're just not going to call holding. And then they call holding on Drew Samia, and you're like, wait, what? What, really? Now we're pulling out flags? Now we're airing our laundry? Not keeping it in our pockets? Okay. RG, what are the chances Texas wins? Against USC? I already picked USC to beat them, but Texas started the week as a 3.5-point favorite, and now it's a pick'em. I think JT Daniels is going to go to work, and I think Sam Ehlinger is due for another pick. I got USC winning that game, but Texas better win it. Otherwise, they're going to come unglued down there in Austin. They'll start the season 1-2 back-to-back years. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. Especially with TCU still left to play, and then Oklahoma. Kansas State, I think, is in there somewhere. Nah, man, that's not a good look. What happened to Caleb Kelly? Good question. Couldn't tell you. Lloyd says, shout out to my niece, Michaela. It was her birthday 2 days ago. She is 5 and an OU fan. Hi, Michaela. I'm glad they're raising you right. Very cool. Holding all day? Yep, I think Texas is awful. Texas is awful. I like it when Texas is good. And I know that's a faux pas as an OU fan, but check it. When that rivalry matters to the rest of the country, it's a good look for Oklahoma when we win. Why is that a problem? Dumpster fire in Austin. Robert Lane. Yes, sir. Shane said, what was this, Shane? Yeah, Shane says, shout out to my son, Brody. Tell him he needs to be a Sooner fan. Not Oklahoma. Brody! What dad do? Come on, man. Ride on the wagon. The schooner. Get on the wagon. Look, Oklahoma, man, come on. All right. Maybe you need to watch more of the channel. Get Brody on the channel. Get Brody on the channel. Let me see. What else we got in here? Matthew Bingham. OU get worse, can they? Did Robert Burns play? Robert Barnes. No. He was out last week too. But, I mean, OU can always get worse, but you don't want them to get worse. And again, Big 12 play. And I was like, I thought it was funny, because Joel Klatt has been torched twice now. Because Joel Klatt goes out on a limb and says, that defense is different. That defense is going to make Oklahoma, better than last year. And then Matt Campbell gets out his jar of tea and says, but that's none of my business. He goes to work. I don't know if they could get better, but Matt Campbell is a great football coach, and he's pretty good at scheming against OU. Scheming against everybody, really. And he's putting kind of a Kansas State light together up there where that team doesn't seem to beat itself. I know that Zeb threw the pick, but they were sound, they were disciplined, they were flying around. Brian Peavy looked good. Greg Ellsworth was the leading tackler for the game at 14. You saw Mike Rose, the true freshman. He's going to be good at linebacker. David Montgomery's fallen forward, as Greg McElroy said 97 times. They're okay at quarterback because Kyle Kemp goes, that Zeb is going to be their guy. So, yeah, maybe. Greg Tate, shout out to my boys who only wanted to watch the first half of the game because they thought we were going to win big. Alex and Greg, but we called Greg Bubba. Alex Bubba, your dad put you on blast. I like it. I definitely would prefer Texas to be better. Yes, please. What else we got in here? Hey, RJ, I know I'd like to see a shutout every week, but just win, baby. That's John IBN. John, with the Bass Reeves profile picture, John's been a big fan of the channel like Kelly and a few other folks since Jump. And when you hear me shout out people that aren't necessarily showed up in the chat, that's me shouting out folks that have been around for a very long time, and when this chat was not as hopping, and when this comment section was not as hopping, and there weren't, I think we're up to like 8,300 subscribers on the channel, these were the folks that were just showing up to hang out with me. So I know them by name. That's how that works. Speaking of which, Doc Winston Boogie, shout out to you as well. Let me see. Who else we got in? Oh, and folks that understand when I just say, Heber! Yeah, blowing out your ears for that one. Let me stay strong, fam. Let me see. Who's staying strong? Prayers for Steven. Yes. Robert Lane, $10 super chat. Yeah, man. I miss Steven. Did Steven say he was leaving? Steven has been in chemo for as long as he's been on the channel. And Steven's my favorite. Every time I feel like I'm having a really bad day, Steven shows up. It's like, yo, RJ, I'm looking forward to the video. And I'm like, oh, I got to pound out the video now. Nah, Stephen Gordon, he's awesome. I appreciate Robert Lane shouting him out with his super chat. That's what's up. Hey, there's Doc. There's Doc. Fernando, RJ, I wasn't worried about our road schedule until now. We still have West Virginia and TCU. 17 straight road victories, though. Yes, you got to go to Texas Christian. You got to go to Morgantown. But I was more worried about Iowa State, honestly, because, well, they got history now, and they got recent history. TCU kind of drugged them twice. Mollywopped them twice in 1 year. It's a bad look. West Virginia is 45-10 at halftime. I mean, I'm not so worried right now. I might be worried, but I'm not worried today. Today I'm more worried about Army, because Army wants flex bone, and that means you got to tackle them. And that's the thing that nobody did today. Nobody was tackling. Nobody was tackling. So I'm worried about the Black Knights right now. I'm worried about the guys who go to school to prepare to go to war. That is not a football team you want any part of. Not me, anyway. If I got to look across that dude and say that dude's not trying to get to the NFL, that dude is trying to get to Iraq, that dude's trying to get to Afghanistan, nah, man, that's not, you don't want to go to work with that dude. And as a person who applied to the Naval Academy, got in, ended up going to TU, that's also a very, 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 very smart group of folks. So they're disciplined, they're physically fit, they're sound of mind and body and spirit. I don't want any part of Army. And I understand why OU would schedule that game. History there is just kind of awesome. I mean, for those of you that don't know anything about Army football, you can make an argument that, I forget what year exactly, but I want to say it's like 1950. That Army team is the best college football team ever. Right? And you can make an argument that that rivalry between Oklahoma and Army, later Notre Dame, during the 47-game win streak, just before, just after, that was pretty good too. But again, I'm more worried about Army than I am TCU as Virginia right now. What else we got in here? Please post what? What is it that Olivia is asking me to post? I don't. Okay, Joe Mixon or Washington? Washington. Silver shoes every time. Now, I'm not gonna pick Joe Washington. I'm not gonna pick Joe Mixon over Joe Washington. You crazy? Please. Let's see. The Black Knights are physical. Yes, they are. Kenneth Murray is about to have 25 tackles. Alice, underrated in the chat. That's not necessarily a good thing. That's why it's funny. Kenny Stills or CD? Kenny Stills. I know Kenny personally. What else we got in here? Lil Joe every time. An Army vet. I hope Oklahoma skull drags the Knights. Appreciate that, Alec. Let me see. What else we got in here? Army won the 1945 championship despite whatever OSU thought. That's right. OSU stole Army's 1945 championship. And every time I walk past it on campus, I point and laugh. And I use every opportunity. Like, they stopped selling the shirts. I don't know if I told y'all this story, and then we're going to have to go. I went looking for the 1945 National Championship shirts that they were selling officially at the Oklahoma State bookstore, and they discontinued them. They stopped selling them because apparently they got the hint that that is not a good look. But I was going to buy a few, and I was really going to do some stuff and, like, mess them up and, like, put X's on them and be like, Army wants its championship back. But if you find one, let me know, because I will buy it off of somebody just so I can wear it around campus with the stolen from Army. Because that's what they're doing now. We stealing national championships. Really? Really? You claiming national championships that aren't yours? All right, whatever. All right, so if you're in the chat, say what's up and shout you out. We're going to close it down. RJ, I've been with you since you were crying about people donating. In your show, I just figured out how to comment on YouTube. Yes, I'm technically declined. It's okay. I'm working through it. I appreciate you, Greg. And those live streams are still up for folks who are brave enough to go look for them. Where we got RJ crying on live streams because this community is awesome. You know, it's one of the reasons why I'm still so committed to making a video every day. OU related, college football related, sports related. We're expanding a little bit. We talk a little bit more about college football at large. You know, a little NFL here and there. But this community is awesome. And as it grows, I want to keep growing it. And I want to be here for you guys as much as you're here for me, honestly. And that's the relationship. It's just cyclical. You guys put in, I put in, so forth, so on. Let me see. Danica Harris, late to the chat. Why no Ryan Jones, or did I just miss him? Scroll back. Actually go, or just go watch the on-demand video about this game, the recap. I go in depth on that. That's a very, very, very good observation. No Ryan Jones. Hank, I'll see you. Derek Tiger, I'll see you. Let me see. Clint Johnson in the house. Daniel Howard in the house. Brent Mitchell, active duty service, military, Oklahoma born sooner. Sorry, Army. That's what's up. I appreciate you. Alan, deuces. Trenton, deuces. Robert Lane, deuces. Love Stephen Gordon. If you pray and you're one of the praying kind, please send prayers up for Stephen Gordon. J Word, I'll see you. Let me see. What else we got in here? David Reed, deuces. Gutslinger, see you. Rudy Lopez. Let me see. Kelly Raines, I appreciate that. Let me see. Stephen Goodspeed, appreciate you, fam. Snap the damn ball, RJ. I thought about getting that out, and people are like, no, leave it. Okay, whatever. It's left. Philip Hatcher, I'll see you. Let me see what else we got. Nate brought us in the house. Olivia Davis. My dad said thank you to all of y'all. Thanks to your dad, Olivia. JD, CNC fan, see you, fam. Fernando, deuces. Wayne Thompson, I'll see you. Ryan Riddick is out. Alec F1, deuces. Don King in the house. See Stephen Gordon, I'll see you, fam. See Bradley Character with the $2 set. Super chat for the deuces, I appreciate that. Finn McCrady's out. Sooner Slim's out. Let me see. Danica Harris. Was he just healthy scratch? But Mike, yes, he's a healthy scratch by Mike. David Prater, deuces. Let's see what else we got. Pray for Mike Stoops. Who else we got? I'm missing somebody, I'm sure. Val! Hey, Val. Val DeLeon. Been here since jump. I appreciate you, fam. Olivia, I'll see you. Let me see. Sean Stapleton, I'll see you. Cade Mason, music, deuces. Jerome Teagan, deuces. Sean Robertson in the house. GD, I see you. Blake Lennon, see you, fam. I appreciate that, man. Darren Morgan, deuces. Lisa Laney, I'll see you. Mason Fine is the best high school football quarterback ever. He's going to light up Arkansas. Let me see. What else we got? Otis Flannery, I'll see you. M. Keegs is out. Mike McCoy is out. Sean James is out. Matthew Bingham is out. Who else we got in here? Going once. Going twice. All right, that's it for me. If you like the videos, don't forget to like this one and subscribe to the channel because I upload a video every single day. So it's OU related, college football related, sports related. We have a good time. I will see you tomorrow. Deuces.